Hey, well, hello. How are you? Great. Well, welcome. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to our first video on Sapiens. You may have seen on the channel before a live stream or two for this game, which came out recently on Steam in early access and also has a free demo. I tried this out a couple of months ago during Steam's Next event, loved it, and thought it was a wonderful ancient city builder where it plays a lot like Ancient Cities / Dawn of Man, more like Ancient Cities though, and also a bit like Planet Coaster, a little bit, with how freely you can build buildings and structures. I'm going to jump in now and take you for a spin around our little, I guess, island that we've been building in Sapiens with a few people who we've kind of, settled with. We can build actual ancient settlements and do farming and all sorts of things. So I wanted to take you on a tour of our village and then get started from scratch and show you all the things you can do in this game, including building your very own planet. And so if you're a big fan of games like, for example, Spore, or if you remember or have played Universum, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, let's jump in, and then we'll start a whole new world. Let's go. All right, well, the entire planet is ours. In this case, the planet is kind of more of a tropical planet where each one of these little islands is kind of, it's a very small continent or small continents. So each one of these are kind of as big as it gets. Although we can do all sorts of different settings for planet temperature and whatnot. We've settled here on this island where on the coast we have ourselves some settlers kind of near this, little valley or whatnot. Or really like a bay, and then there's a little bit of a valley behind. Whoa, check that out. So, welcome to Sapiens. Got some beautiful cloud coverage, some gorgeous, wonderful stars that'll come out at night. And hey, there's our village. Fantastic. So this is about maybe about 4.5 hours worth of work where we've kind of assembled ourselves a few little huts for people to live in, a farm, and an area just over here for trees and things like coconuts and whatnot. These are orange trees, which we can use, of course, for wood, but better used for food. And then, of course, our coconut bushes here. Coconut bush. More like a coconut tree that's a bush now, but eventually will grow up, and we'll be able to, of course, cut it down in order to produce a lot of wood, but also it can produce some food. Right now we got a little fire here, people resting around the fire. These logs we actually put down ourselves. You can actually go into a decor menu and decorate your settlement, and then the people inside the settlement will actually use it. So if you put down a log, people will actually sit on it. We could put this near a farm or maybe near our storage area or whatnot. Inside these little cabins, we actually have people who are in here resting and whatnot, and there is a little pot that we made earlier that we can actually use for storage and things, I think, in the future. The game is being made by one person and is incomplete and is in early access, so there's a lot of things planned in the future and a lot of great process and progress here for the early access release. So here we have some flax twine and some bricks and things. I tried to store food in here but haven't gotten around to reorganizing things, but because this is a shelter, it's a good idea to put food in here where it will spoil a lot slower. We got a kind of a family in here chilling out, some people hanging out. And of course, tons and tons of beds, about 16 beds per house, because there is a lot of people moving in all the time. It's really cool. We can actually look out through the window and stuff. This kind of reminds me of what it's like in Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo in order to build a building. If you've ever seen those games before, oftentimes creators will make something like a ATM machine or maybe a drink dispenser or something like that and disguise it as a hut. And so building in this really does seem like that type of game, except we're actually building structures that work. And we kind of connected these two structures here with a cabana or whatnot that kind of allows people to walk in the shade. And just like in the other hut you just saw, same deal. Lots of people hanging out, food and stuff in there. Hey, and we got some bones and stuff. Check that out. Yeah, now we finally got some bones and some dead chickens in there too. So we're actually out hunting, and we're bringing back all the chickens to then butcher to turn into meat, and then can be cooked. Under here we're storing seeds and whatnot to plant other things like sunflowers and flax and whatnot. So if you've seen games like Falling Frontier whatnot on the channel, there is quite a lot of different types of things to grow in this game. We're in kind of a more tropical setting, so we have bamboo and some other fir trees that you might find around Asia, Japan, Korea, China, that type of thing. And so bamboo has been really instrumental for building a lot of our early buildings and also for fueling our fires here. We see some fires here burning, and of course the kilns are also doing the same as well. And we're building those too, so we got some people here we're waiting for some materials to continue making bricks, and then eventually making, charcoal kilns here, which burn wood in order to then cure or fire clay. Nearby, we're actually mining clay too, and everybody you see laying around is kind of not assigned to a job at the moment, since we were, kind of just here for demonstration purposes. But, of course, there's alpaca, there's woolly mammoths. We can settle in all sorts of different areas, including temperate areas and also wintry climates. And here we've started to mine out some clay, but the clay has also started to kind of flood because it's below the sea level nearby. So there's kind of like an aquifer, a water table that's starting to fill up. And look at how beautiful this looks. We can build pretty much anywhere we want. If we wanted to build like a little tower over here, like a little security tower or whatnot, or a lookout tower, we could actually look both ways down what seems to be a river. Beautiful reflections of the lake, or off the lake, of the sky and the clouds and the distant mountains over there. And if we scroll out kind of even further, or rather go up here on top of the mountain, we can see all around us all the beautiful landscapes. Yeah, check that out. So pretty damn good, man. The water, I've got to say, it reminds me of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've not seen water that good since Microsoft Flight Sim. Even the newer one, if you get this close, it looks really damn good. Very detailed. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump back down to the village real quick. Of course, there's other things coming soon, like the ability to mine iron and smelt that stuff down. And there'll be things like being able to build full castles out of stone brick or mud brick or clay. We can build all sorts of things out of that. And, of course, the ability to do pottery and whatnot. There's no invasions at the moment, but I'd like to see it in the future. And also a trader coming in. I'd like to see that as well, so that way we could trade for goods that we don't necessarily have here. I would say the moment... at this moment, I would think to myself, okay, well, what do I want to do next? Well, in the game, we have ourselves a little bit of a tech tree. If we go to roles, we can actually see where we can research to. I haven't even finished all the things. This would probably take another couple of hours to finish all the different types of research by finding things that our people can investigate in order to basically smash two sticks or two rocks together to see what happens. In the very beginning, finding out fire and working on hunting and figuring out that stabbing a deer with a spear ends the deer's life and it can be butchered. And then we can do some basic cooking, that type of thing. So we have 21 people in the settlement. All of them have different types of roles. And I guess at this point, it'd be really cool to build a couple more homes and then put a wall around the settlement and build like a gate or whatnot. We can't be attacked by any animals at the moment, but I'd say if we saw anything dangerous, it would probably be the woolly mammoth. Although, even though they don't attack, it would still also be pretty cool to kind of hunt them and create kind of like a war party, or more of a nomadic society that also kind of builds forts or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like little temporary shelters or whatnot. But yeah, so building a temporary wall out of wood is definitely possible. But now we're more permanent, this settlement. So at this point, we would probably upgrade these houses to wood and put a wall around this, or wall off the village. But really, ideally, what I'd like to do is build like a little castle up here, some sort of a fort, be able to give a few people a spot to hang out and be king. This also reminds me of what it's like in Going Medieval, in order to build a little settlement in that game. Again, that's kind of more like RimWorld, where you're managing maybe about 6 to 10 people. Here we're already up to 21, and a lot of those people are used for things such as gathering clay. Like, for example, they're full-time gathering clay and hay, so that way we can have ourselves some basic materials. Bamboo, sticks, thatch, planks, clay, seeds, other types of logs and other building materials here, including tools all laying around. And these areas kind of where we build all that. Everyone, again, is just waiting for orders on stuff. But yeah, the camp would certainly be kicking if we were doing more clay mining and whatnot. So that's good times. But yeah, now everybody's got access to some good food. Oranges will grow from time to time. And if that's not enough, there's pumpkins nearby. And if that's not enough, there's gooseberry and, of course, hunting. So that's pretty much it. But great detail here. The wind blowing in the grass, trees blowing in the wind. Can speed up time and slow things down. And a gorgeous, 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 gorgeous skybox. I don't think I've seen something this good since, maybe like, for example, No Man's Sky or Star Citizen, just kind of looking at the atmosphere of a planet you might be on. Very gorgeous to see. And they've done a good job with this. Really, again, being made by one person. Maybe a small team of other people helping with maybe small assets in the music, but essentially just one person. Now, if you've watched this far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our Discord. I may have some more keys for this one to give away. The developer's been pretty awesome jumping into our live stream chats and answering questions and talking about other types of features and things that they have planned for the future. So it's going to be quite good to be able to see all of this a year from now. So it's good now, really, really good, and is only getting better. So I'd like to see more. All right, let's go ahead and see what it's like to start from the very beginning and what you would do no matter where you start in Sapiens. Let's go. All right, so now let's go ahead and make a fresh new world and get started with a new civilization in Sapiens. Let's create our world. And let's go ahead and, yes, so we can do everything from naming it, giving it a seed, or sharing that seed with a friend, and then going through all the options for like water, rainfall, temperature, continent size, mountain height, and hills. It actually does matter a little bit more than it seems. Maybe not so much the sea level and rainfall for the map in which you'll be playing, but of course for the planet that you create. So let's go with the planet of Lucan, and we'll go with a random seed here, flip that a few times. I think what we're going to go for is a little higher sea level with a little more rainfall, a little warmer planet, but with smaller continents. I think this actually I think scrolling it to the left will, oh, wow. Mostly a water planet here. Oh, very nice. Okay, cool. All right, we'll go with a little less mountain height, a little less hill size, and no mountain height at all. Let's go for a nice tropical paradise, flat tropical paradise. This looks good down here, so maybe we'll settle in this area. I wonder what that really dark square is. Okay, this game also has mods too, so if you're not happy with something about the game, there's probably going to be a myriad of mods, a cavalcade, if you will, in the Steam Workshop too. So let's go ahead and create our world and jump in. So in just a moment, everything will load in perfectly for us, and then of course we will then be able to select where we will start. For millennia, Sapiens have been exploring Lucan. Small tribes are scattered wide across the world, traveling, gathering, hunting, and surviving. These Sapiens are happy, but they're limited by their lack of knowledge and ambition. Alone they may survive, but can never reach their full potential. You're to become a guardian of the tribe of Sapiens. You'll give them direction and purpose, and your goal is to encourage them to learn, advance, and grow, and ultimately to create a thriving Sapien civilization. Those you choose to lead will be the ancestors of the entire human species. Choose your tribe wisely. So we don't have to choose with the ones that they zoomed in on. We get to choose from the entirety of the planet, of course, with the north and south poles being a little chilly, but typically it's like how Earth would be, where of course we've got a north and south pole and the globe kind of rotating around the sun, where we also have ourselves a day-night cycle. But I would like to settle in somewhere where we may have seen before. Maybe that dark spot was, maybe it was like, maybe a lake or some sort of water. Oh, wow, it's like purple. What could that be? Wow, look at that maze of islands and stuff there. Jeez, that's crazy. Like swamps or whatnot. Let's go ahead and settle somewhere where it looks beautiful. A solid coast would be nice right there. That's where we're going to settle. Oh, well, yeah, there's a little bit of water there. It never is what it seems, though. The closer and closer you zoom. I want somebody kind of on just the edge of the ocean. Wow, look at this. Islands within islands. That's insane. Like, look at this. You can have, of course, you could settle in the very cold, like Siberian type regions, alpine, tropical. And you can have multiple settlements. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, we see a little bit of ice down here, so there is a little bit of snow in those regions down there. It's crazy how it works. But let's go somewhere along the coast. It is amazing. Everything is these micro islands everywhere. Even here. You think it's one solid island, and then you zoom in, and it's just more and more islands. But this is where we'll settle, finally. No, we won't, because there's only 2. It'll be easier to show off with maybe 5. There we go. That's better. Oh, perfect. That was actually very nice. They're up on kind of a hill in a protected valley. This is perfect. We have a little bit of information about our people. Loyal and strong, creative, pessimist, etc., with different ages and whatnot. So let's go with it. Oh, man. The initial start. Beautiful. So I think we went for less hills, but here we are in the hills. But look at that, man. That is absolutely gorgeous. All right, our first goal then is to gather hay, but I need to pause time and just be like, wow, every time, dude, this game just impresses me. Actually, we're kind of in a good defensive position if this were somewhere where we actually could be invaded. Wow, look at this. So we got this whole island to ourselves, And we can continue to go down from island chain to island chain, just working along. It looks like Norway or something. The fjords of Sweden, Norway. Not you, Denmark. Not you. Not this time. Oh, wow. Look at that. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bay. All right, well, so it's not too flat, but we can definitely flatten things out in the future. Maybe we'll settle down here. We're going to look around for a few things that we need. First of all, I think we'll settle here because it's flatter. 2, we have bamboo nearby, so that's good. We need to find a food source then, which we actually can physically look around for ourselves. There we go. That's exactly what we want. Gooseberries on those bushes. And then, of course, we can plant our own. And then we've got more and more and more and more bamboo pretty much everywhere. We could find some other crops that'd be great. Here's some flax. That'll be good for making weapons eventually, tying them together. And it looks like iron over there too, which is the little dark blotches in the side of the mountain there. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started then. We'll order our people then to move over to clear out some hay right around here. So one thing we can do is we can go into a build menu where we can start building storage areas and things like that by just pressing Q. So we've got a crafting area and a storage area. But another great thing is the ability to click on the ground, and then we can tell the system that, hey, we want to select more than just one area. We can start an initial area to clear out all this grass, essentially. So go like that, and boom, it'll clear out a pretty nice area for us for building our first settlement. Great thing about this is it's needed for building some early shelters and early beds. No way we're going to get a house up in the first couple of days, so we're just going to kind of have to make do. Let's find out where our people are now. They'll have a little bit of a walk over there, but probably better than being up here. Actually, oh man, this would be a much more beautiful site. There's also clay. Another good note from the developers, anytime you see clay, you can also dig underneath these areas, and there'll be clay or whatever material below. So sometimes we see limestone too. That's important to note. Oh, some raspberry. All right, well, since we're here, let's go ahead and mark a few of these for collection. We're going to gather hay. We're going to grab raspberries. We're going to try to grab some sticks. We have 5 people, so hopefully we've got like 1 person gathering raspberry, 1 on gooseberry, and then everybody else on hay. But we also are going to need some sticks here, so let's see if we can find some on the ground. We'll find some loose bamboo, just a little bit. And we'll also make our storage area nearby somewhere too. I'm going to make a little area maybe over here for storage. A little higher up. But of course we'll flatten out the land later. I can't believe it. I think when we slid that slider, maybe I made it much more hilly. But it is cool how even though you make some areas much more flat, there are mountainous regions within your map too. So you can make it the hottest possible with the least amount of rainfall to try to make it like Arrakis or something, you know, the planet from Dune. But you can still end up with a bit of water and some lakes and such. But then again, you always just re-roll the seed, and that's your way to kind of perfect your planet. But, you know, there's many places to build. That is breathtaking. There's a little, look at that little tree out on that island out there. Man, that's great. Just right out there, all lonely. Beautiful. Lovely little bay, too. It's almost like a, yeah, it's definitely like a Norwegian fjord. It's beautiful. Okay, well, yeah, so there's a lot of tips and stuff on the right side. I'll be mostly skipping a lot of that since I kind of know what I'm doing, at least up to the point where I'd played before, so I think we've gathered some food. We've also ordered a few things to be cleared here. Let's go ahead and start with our storage areas. Now, this will be for mostly building materials for now, and then eventually we'll get some food in there. It's going to be a little hard to see until they're done clearing. But we'll build a storage nearby for this hay so we can build the houses. Maybe what we could do is, since the houses are primarily built with hay and also sticks, we can start with that. We'll build a couple of things there to store. Maybe we'll do one for stones and something else, and then store the, and then eventually switch it to food once we're done. We can always order transport. One of the great options in this game too is the ability to you can make roads in the game and have your people stick to those roads, and so they'll be a lot faster. So especially if you're working between multiple settlements, you can build that, and they can be built out of stone or clay or dirt. But then also there's an option to do routes. So essentially what we could do is we could have, perhaps we could have one village that is way over here that does farming, and we could have a village over here that grows raspberry or something like that, and then we could transport it to the other village. Another great spot for farming and stuff up here, nice and flat. But yeah, so we could farm stuff here and then tell them to transport it after gathering to the other village and almost trade between the two villages, but working cooperatively to, you know, be able to build their settlements bigger and bigger each time. Let's see. All right, so they're gathering a lot of this hay now. And a good thing about it is that it actually needs to dry out for a little while before we can use it. So it is one of the best things to get grab at the start. And since you can't use it till it dries, you really can't build a house until a bit later. Let's see, they want us to clear out 4 out of 6 areas, and we're also gathering sticks here. Bamboo does qualify as a stick, even though that looks like a giant log. That is considered to be a stick. Looks like there is a small stick here too, pine branch. We'll go ahead and gather that. And we're going to tell our people to start researching. So if we have them investigate, we can actually have them start to bang 2 sticks together and discover fire. And that should be our first thing, is the ability to build some campsite and sleep outside. Aw, we got a dead little alpaca here. They'll stay here for a few days. It'll be okay to harvest at any time, and we'll be able to use that for studying meat. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of them over here. So we can use these guys for meat primarily. There's no wool in the game at the moment, but I would imagine at some point we'll get into a little bit more complicated production chains, such as making linen into fabric, and then fabric into some sort of clothing. And it'll be great for trade or something like that. Absolutely amazing. Let's look around for some more food. We did find the gooseberries. And I was hoping to see maybe like an orange tree or an apple tree. Typically it's kind of more of a warmer climate, so it'd be more tropical stuff like a maybe a coconut tree. Also, I've noticed that the landscape can change over a couple of years. Oh, here's our orange trees. Fantastic. So over the next couple of years, there is a chance that other trees could spawn near us or right next to us that we haven't had a chance yet to see. Are these banana trees? Oh, these might be nanners. Yeah. All right, didn't know there were bananas in the game. Sweet. We're going to continue to gather those, not only just for food, but also in order to... yeah, we're going to gather all that. We're going to grab that in order to try to farm with it. And we could always start our farm earlier before our settlement because, you know, of course, it takes a while to clear the land. And when it comes to trees, trees take a while to grow. If we grow a little bush, it doesn't take as long. All right, and we've discovered fire. Yes. Uniwa has figured out how to rub 2 sticks together and burst into flame. Fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and start a campfire. We have like, what, 5 people in the camp now? Let's go ahead and plop down the fire. And maybe some beds for our people too. We'll start with 5 beds, and we'll go with 6. We can fit quite a few beds around there. And if we hold control, we can get a little more precision out of this. Oh yeah, and we can even do, yeah, even more precise placement of all of the different types of objects in the game, not just beds. So yeah, if you click and hold control, it gives you a very precise system there with X, Y. Alright, is that 5? Okay, we want probably 1 more. There'll be more people joining our camp very soon. I think we'll start with something like this and maybe move the fire. I'm going for a rather large pattern. Doesn't really matter too much because, of course, we'll rip these beds up and bring them inside whenever we, you know, have completed our settlement. But there we go. That's a nice little start for everybody. So all this hay here will go right into the bed making, and then, of course, the rocks that we find will go into... oh, here comes the food. But yes, all the rocks will also go into the campfire, too. So let's go ahead and grab those. 16 plain rocks. Excellent. Now, let's make a couple more storage areas. And eventually we'll move these to a different area. Yeah, we'll store these all over here eventually. Continuing to grab any sort of bamboo or pine branch in the area. Nice thing about this game too is that you can differentiate between those two branches. If you want one style over the other for some reason, you can do that. And then they are all stored in the same storage. So a pine branch and a bamboo branch can be kind of compiled into the same thing, so you don't have to make one for each type. And it's the same with the seeds too. Everybody can kind of like pile them together and know the difference. Seeds are seeds, but of course when you go to collect them, they're a little different. Gooseberries are coming back. Excellent. Our friend here has a big-o handful. And we can use those to plant at any time. We'll need to kind of make some tools first before we do that. We'll need to first make ourselves a hand axe, then bang it onto the ground to discover digging. And then with digging, we discover planting. So there's like one research to find out about stones, then one research to find out about, or, well, we have to make this pickaxe, and then we have to, of course, dig the ground, and then we have to plant. So it's like a long time before you can even start planting. And she's already snacking. Ma'am, you haven't even dropped them off. She couldn't even wait until, and she already dropped one. Ma'am, what are you doing? You made a mess. Okay. Anyway, so yes, we can't discover this without first discovering the rocks. So as soon as they figure that out, we'll be good. All right, we're going to go ahead and put things on fast forward. So yeah, even though there's a lot to do, there's lots of jobs that must all kind of be done at the same time. Food, gathering sticks and branches, gathering stones, and then of course all the extra building material can go for decoration, which is really self-satisfying. And things like, for example, pathways not only look good, but then of course also help our people to move through the camp. So you could set up a whole pathing system inside the camp and then put a wall around it, and then outside just let them go wherever. Wow, landscape's beautiful. I've not seen any more forest more thick than this, which is kind of nice, though, to keep track of everybody. And, of course, we can always grow more stuff. So if we want more of a tree that we don't have, we can always grow it. Ooh, for example, those banana trees. We could definitely grow some more. Oh, yeah, there's some here. Fantastic. So, yeah, food will go bad in a few days, but what we could do is put a little lean-to down as soon as we discover that, and we could store maybe 2 food groups underneath there, or like, for example, food and then also seeds, which will help them to last longer. Seeds last up to a year, fruit will only last a few days, so things take a little bit of time. All right, well, awesome. One of our little Sapiens has been able to make beds. Unfortunately, we got rain, but impossible to have all this done. They still need to gather more branches. They're still bringing them back. And rocks, too, which are going right into the fire construction. Excellent. One thing I've noticed is that fire construction, or rather having a fire, the fire won't burn out or blow out if you have a lot of rain or whatnot. That's something you don't have to worry about. Also, I haven't seen any sort of durability on weapons or the buildings yet, but I think that'll be something to worry about in the future, as well as fire. Wow. That was kind of interesting. The transition between the rain and the sun like that. Still impressed by this game's ability to kind of create weather and lighting effects based on weather. And atmospheric changes, too. Not a cloud in the sky today, but very soon there could be lots of clouds. Like there were just moments ago for all the rain. Alright. So yeah, there could be snowstorms if we settle in the more tundra regions. There, of course, can be more like high winds if we're near the shoreline on a tropical region such as this. Although it doesn't really affect it. You can see the trees whipping a lot more than usual, but again, nothing will blow over. Okay. More and more supplies coming in. Fantastic. More and more sticks being gathered. We need to store 8 branches. Yeah. They were putting some into the fire, so it doesn't count. It has to be in storage. One thing we could do, though, is we can click on a bamboo tree and actually collect bamboo like branches, and we could do the same with the tree too. You know, like you could say gather pine branches. You're gonna need a lot of sticks, a lot of sticks. The 2 houses that I constructed took quite some time. Ooh, and the fire's up. So yeah, don't be afraid of having way more than what you need for the sticks. They'll always be used for fuel, either for your fires or your charcoal kilns. We'll put a couple of lights down here. And it'll be time for everybody to bed down shortly. Looks like they're bringing over hay and straw. Or rather just hay and sticks for the lighting of the little torches. Nice lighting effects coming off the fire. The smoke will actually blow in many different directions based on the wind. Super realistic. You can see the glow of the fire and the sparks and stuff. Very nice detail. There could definitely be a reason to put your fire inside of buildings too. Obviously, thatch is not a great start for flammability, but eventually you could make a building out of brick or stone and then put a fire inside, although there's no hearths or anything like that yet. Would it be great for a medieval setting or a, like building a base out of stone or like a castle or something like that later on. But warmth, as you can see in the upper left corner, very hot, so we don't really need to worry too much about that. Now, another question is food preservation. Is that something that'll preserve the food? And it would be really cool in this game if, for example, a colder climate meant basically free protection from spoilage or an increased time. Wow. Somebody's still out there working. Alright, well, we need to research the hay, too. Let's do that. Now that everyone's kind of more home, we got to research the rocks. So we can try to make some tools. And another thing we should do is so they can research at nighttime, they will need light. So let's go ahead and put some light near our storage. And yes, let's put this flammable fire near the flammable objects. Yeah. No penalty for it yet, but the developer will more than likely put in flammable thatch at some point. And that means that, you know, you'll have to keep your fire outside and somehow keep your people warm with body heat inside. It'd be cool if this did have some sort of a temperature system to it, like how it is in Going Medieval. But first, you got to make the basic game mechanics work. Oh, and here comes the rain. All right, we're doing a little napping there, learning how to chip those rocks into a some sort of a weapon or a tool. And people coming back with more and more supply. It's really nice in this game how it's often hands-off. You give your people some very simple orders, and they can pretty much take care of them very easily. Some games are a little more complicated, like, for example, in Ancient Cities, I believe that's the most complicated. If you were comparing Dawn of Man, Ancient Cities, in this game, I believe this game is probably the easiest of them, because you're kind of giving tasks to certain objects. As we're in Dawn of Man, you're kind of making work orders and maintaining minimum production values and percentages and whatnot. Here it's just like, hey, I need 5 rocks for something, and so you go gather 5 rocks, and it works. Go ahead and gather 3 clay instead. Gathering up all the materials nearby that we can, and clearing out more areas over here. There we go. And eventually we'll probably do this area for farming as well. In fact, we could make that a farm and keep all of our objects there. That might be a better move. Cool. Alright, well, let's cancel that. Have a change of heart and just destroy whatever we've done there so far. And then we'll keep that for the gooseberries in the future. And maybe some oranges. We found oranges. And also bananas. Lots and lots of bananas. So good amounts of fruit. But again, remember, there is also vegetables in the game. Beetroots. And, of course, animals. We can hunt alpaca, mammoth, and chicken so far. And those bones will be used for decorative carvings and some cultural things that keep everybody motivated, some music and stuff that they can make instruments out of those bones. Pretty cool. So people will go back and forth, gathering all those materials. Definitely don't want them going much further than the gooseberries, but kind of have to. But there was no other real good area for them to settle in. Well, here we have some coconut trees. Hey, and another tribe has been spotted, so they want to join us. And so we'll let them. More people to join us. Now, I will say it's a little difficult to kind of identify who's coming into your camp. Sometimes I feel like you could miss them, so you just got to kind of like walk up to them and or do it this way and kind of invite them into the camp, or not. If you don't want to accept them, they'll kind of keep moving on. So let's make sure we've got some people assigned to that in our thing here. We got diplomacy, so we want a few people assigned to that. So they'll basically welcome them and say, hey, how are you? Welcome to our camp, which is nice. More helping hands is a good thing. Let's continue to make a few beds for them. There we go. We'll make 3 more. And again, when we destroy these, I believe we get most, if not all, of the material back, so... And we can always square up that fire later. Alright, back to it. Oh, there was a child here, too. I think the system for people coming in could be a little different. Otherwise, you gotta kind of like really track them all down. And just make sure and pay attention to nobody walking around without a job, essentially. Wow, we still haven't stored the appropriate amount of branches yet. Too much construction going on. Yeah, let's grab 22 bamboo. 22 to skidoo, 22 bamboo. Wow. So there they go. Oh yeah, there they go. Bringing in all the sticks. Oh, the grass looking so nice with all the little... Oh, look at that. All the little details of the flowers. Wow, that's some really good grass, man. Never said that before. That's for sure. Wow. Here they come. Oh, perfect. Yes, finally. We've got all... Oh, man. We've got all those sticks finally. Finally. Alright, so now we need to investigate more around us. So we're investigating a rock, I think, already. Yep. And then we're going to investigate hay, which is being investigated elsewhere. Somebody's already doing something with that. Oh, there. There and there. Alright, more and more sticks will come in for fuel. So once they've researched this thatch, basically that begins our construction process. We can now finally build actual shelters for our people and get out of the, you know, out of the environment. So I would estimate maybe like 2 days or so to actually build even a somewhat decent house. The conditions are not going to be great for the first house that we build. It's going to be pretty crowded, honestly. But for good reason, because there's not really any reason to make space. We don't need to have a lot of room between the beds or anything like that. There's no, you know, risk of disease. There's no privacy of families wanting to be in their same home or something. It's not like Banished, you know. We're not building a house, throwing some firewood in it and hope that a kid, you know, moves out eventually to a neighboring house. Alright, more and more sticks going in. And more sticks coming back. Excellent work. What do we got in storage here? 30. Wow. Oh, now 33. 36. Okay, so they can carry 3 at a time. Very good. Wow, lots and lots coming out. Amazing how much they can gather off just a bamboo tree like that. Crazy. Very, very nice. All right, let's make the research a top priority now for the other person there. So both are now going to be investigated. And then what will probably happen is when this is all done, we'll delete the fire and all the beds and start to actually design a decent house. Very quick to be able to build this stuff. It does take a little bit of time, but once we've got a house down, then of course we've got ourselves a the ability to make tools too, because the napping will be complete. So that'll make gathering all the resources better by cutting them down, at least for the trees. Ooh, rain again. So, good question comes up then. Does rainfall actually affect fertility or plant growth? That could be a factor. I haven't really tested it out and timed each of the different, you know, low, medium, and high amounts of rain to see if it actually increases or decreases that. But it'd be great to see. Thatch building 2. Great, so now we've got an area for storage. Let's go ahead and build one of those just to display it. Oop. Oh, they're giving us so many things we're unlocking. Now, again, during the demo, you can go through a lot of this stuff too. The demo is exactly the same as this as well. You can do all the same things, just can only do it for about 2 days or so. All right, well, we know what to do next. We need to assign some work areas. So we're going to do just that. They say 4, but we're going to go with 6. And that'll be made out of rocks, so we'll have to go gather some more of those. And we'll need rocks, of course, for tools. A lot of these larger rocks can be mined, but of course we have to start small to be able to make a pickaxe. Oh, there's some chickens. Very good. Alright, we gotta have some stones around here somewhere. Ah, there we go. Perfect. We can also find flint. These are limestone rocks in this case. Flint is just another quality of tool, a higher quality, I believe. I think it has a higher durability, perhaps. I'm not sure if tools actually have durability, so maybe it gets the job done faster. Less work from the worker. Alright, one more little work area to make. And we'll start also bringing in tools now. Or, well, more rocks for tools. Go ahead and go with 4. We're going with 4 hand axe and 4 stone knives. Now, I think the hand axes are for digging and the stone knives might be for skinning an animal. I'm not sure exactly what the correct number is, but... we'll just have a couple people doing that. So yes, they need light in order to keep working, so make sure that you put some light sources near these little structures too. And that's also kind of why I put the flames near the storage area too, so that way everyone can see what they're putting in there. Although I don't think it matters. Now we have an expecting mother here. Okay, well, the camp's soon to have more than 5 people in it. Where did the others go? The ones who were here may have never joined the camp if we didn't increase the diplomacy to a higher level in terms of its priority. But I think we're still at 5 people, so they were just visiting. They'll come back, and eventually we can recruit them again. So the next time a tribe comes through, we'll just have to click on that person, click recruit, and then just make sure we increase that if we hadn't. Well, let's see here. Did anyone get recruited? No. But that's okay. Now we don't need any more food, at least, and can focus more on the stick gathering and whatnot. Well, let's do a little building for ourselves. Let's build a little hut over here in the corner. Which is totally fine. We will make this rather small since there's only 5 of us. Put a little window on the side. And let's see. We could put a thatch roof over this like that. And I'm not sure if we get corner pieces. Oh, I guess we need a breakthrough. So we could put wood pieces in there as well. Or this, the thatch roof wall. There we go. So something like that. So we can make a small little hut like that. And then we can put some beds in there. So, if more people decide to move in, we can make individual homes for everybody. But in this case, this is at least enough room for 5 people, and then maybe a little storage area for food. So they can stay in here with their... They can stay in here with some food. Keep it dry or whatever. Just don't step on it. Well, step on it when it comes to building the house. Okay, let's assign everybody to building. And just see if we can get that done. So, thatch building. Everybody. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, we had 4 people assigned to diplomacy. So, yeah, that's a good thing to note for the future, though. These are good numbers, I feel. Actually, let's... Nah, it's fine. In fact, we want another person on diplomacy. There we go. So every so often, people will come to your camp, so it's not very, it's not infrequent that people will actually show up to your camp. They'll come quite often. Of course, we'll have mothers give birth. And when children are born, they start it usually... Someone will be expecting a child, they'll give birth, and then the child will automatically be about 12 years old or so. And then in a few years, they can start helping out in the camp. In fact, it kind of bypasses the whole child age of, like, you know, being too young to assist, and go into, like, the age of 12 where, you know, they can help carry berries or learn good survival skills. It's important to learn these things to pass them on, because, of course... The knowledge of hunting or gathering or starting a fire is best learned as soon as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time by being dead. Alright, yeah, we're going to need a lot more thatch. There we go, let's go with quite a bit more. That seems like way too much, but honestly, I think that'll be just enough to... This will probably be enough to finish most of it, and then that could be enough to start on a second house. So yeah, we got all these, all this bamboo being gathered. We've got all this hay being gathered, and that'll be the kind of the start of our first house. Let's go ahead and make this top priority then for our people to build. Let's see if we can get a little hut done. So once we're done with this type of construction, the next goal is to then start messing around with clay and finding out how clay works, and then of course finding out how to manipulate that, using it in a kiln in order to, you know, fire it up and make clay bricks, and then moving on to things like wood and stone, and making better tools to discover all those building materials. And of course, with those building materials comes a better, like, fortification or defense. Cool thing would be to build kind of a what you would in a game such as Going Medieval, where when you make a settlement in Going Medieval, typically you build a Typically, you build like a little village and then eventually use that to build a larger castle. All right, yep, and look at that. Another tribe already arriving. They take just a moment to show up, wherever they may be. And then we'll recruit them. There we go. We'll mark their recruitment as a high priority as well. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's okay. Wow, and look at that. All the building materials being delivered. Nice and neat, too. Look at that. Everybody doing a good job of showing off their organization at the construction site. Putting up the frame, too. Look at that. Impressive. Now, of course, a much smaller house, but we could copy and paste its design a few times and keep it nice and cozy. And I think if we were in a winter setting, we would probably want to put the fire in the building. But the question would be, how do we ventilate that? There's no chimney or whatnot, but I don't think it's going to be an issue like in Valheim where, you know, smoke is a problem. Alright, lots of thatch coming over. Yeah, look, it's almost gone. Yeah, it's so cool to see the ancient construction. All those old techniques. So, at least by what, day 2 or 3 here, we'll have ourselves a house constructed? Looks like they're standing around, but I think what it's actually simulating is them kind of weaving the thatch into the walls and putting it all together. But look, you can see the other different types of construction materials they're using. Bamboo and or branches. And more being dried out over here. And you can already see some of the berries going bad too. Which would be kind of cool if we could actually turn that into compost or something for the... with the farm fields. I was trying to see if anybody else was coming around here to recruit. Well. Make sure we build the roof too. So basically the walls are just needing to be assembled, and then the roof, and that's pretty much it. The front sections and such too. We can also get somebody on investigation for the ground in order to learn how to dig and then eventually plant. But let's focus on the house again. Everybody seems to be quite interested in going and gathering sticks and not constructing the house. Gotta make sure we make the corners important. There we go. All right. A little bit of the roof needs to be complete. And we have a hut. Fantastic. And another berth. Well, actually, now we have more than 5, don't we? We have 6. I think missing again that person who was recruited, but if this were a longer playthrough, I'd be putting a lot more attention into making sure we recruit everybody. Ugh, crowded. Not good. Alright, but there we go. A little hut. And, of course, now we just need to start learning how to dig and then planting some of the crops that we've gathered. We can always go find more gooseberries, more bananas, and more oranges and things like that. So, good times. The research continues. Well, that is it for our video first look at Sapiens, out now on Steam. Hope you all enjoyed it, and check it out. It's a good one. And can't wait to play more games like this one on the channel. If you enjoyed it, again, leave a like to support the channel and help that algorithm promote this game and, of course, the channel to many more. And thanks again for subscribing. You guys are great. I'll see you next time.